All right, T10ers, let's look at some more details on a compressor and do some failure analysis too. Sometimes a compressor, hundreds of thousands of miles, pistons can actually get piston slap, lose their compression ability, and that can show wear and tear. On the top of each piston, there's what we call reed valves. They're used in two-cycle engines too. You can see I have this one bent back, but as the piston goes up, it would push this reed valve out. When a piston goes down, it would pull this reed valve down. Okay? If any of these reed valves are bad, bent, or not sealing properly, you'll have a fluctuation in pressure, just like an engine that would fail with a burnt valve or so. Okay? And again, we mentioned if it's a clutchless type, the dampener pulley, this compressor is seized up. You can see at the very middle that that's not turning. Those spokes are broken off. Another way a compressor can go bad is an electrical open or fault in the AC compressor clutch magnet, electromagnet. They usually have two wires going to them. Sometimes they have one and are internally grounded. This puppy here was taken off a Yaris, and believe it or not, it was working. You can see that it was rubbing up against here, and what it would occasionally do is blow the 10 amp compressor clutch fuse, and this was shorting out against the housing. There's a specific ohms resistance for the coils, and go from there. Another problem we can have is an internal problem inside the compressor where it locks up. This is off a Ford, where you can see that here is the pulley, and there used to be rubber mounts living here, but that's all goofed up now. I don't know why Ford uses that type or whatever. But again, just simple analysis. I can try to turn the compressor and I can feel it get stuck, and that's what caused the compressor to blow off. Occasionally when compressors will go bad, you'll see heating and stuff like that. They can lock up. Of course, Toyota's got the lock sensors to go from there. Okay, another type of compressor I want to show you is a scroll type. Okay, we use these in our hybrids. You can see that this was actually broken off here. And basically, it just goes around and around like this with a scrolling action and pumps refrigerant. A very efficient pump. Another thing that can go bad is the front hub bearing for the AC compressor. I want you to listen to this. So there's bearings in here, and when the belt's driving, it's making a noise. What's really counterintuitive on this, if the AC compressor comes on, that takes the stress off of this bearing, and with the AC compressor on, this compressor was actually quieter than it was off. A couple other devices, AC compressor solenoid. Again, it's an electrical device. If it becomes open, it'll set a AC code and it won't work. Pay attention to this little guy here. He's the high pressure blow off valve. Here's another one here. That's used where if something goes wrong, or if the electrical safety measures do not kick in, if it gets to like 450 pressure, the refrigerant will be released through here and blown to the atmosphere. That rarely happens, but you have to know that it's a sort of a source of a leak. You want to also see that the compressor is several different parts, and there's seams and seals. There's a front seal here that can leak. There's seals in between here, and on the high side and low sides they can also leak. So you really want to check for a leak in the AC compressor. So I hope you enjoyed this failure analysis.